All right, welcome ringers and ringers to another episode here. We have a guest today. We're going to be speaking a lot about what everybody loves, money and finances and how to navigate that and see where you are, but especially today, see where my guest is. We have Stoy Hall here, and I'm going to have him introduce himself so you can get familiar with who we are chatting with today and where he stands. How you doing? And thank you for coming to the episode.
I appreciate having me, Cassandra. Yeah, and I love going on different podcasts and having different conversations specifically around money because, again, it's all integrated in everything we do in life. But my background, I'm born and raised from Omaha, Nebraska.
Nice.
Just a young black kid with a father that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
around, raised by a white mother who worked 12-hour shifts, right? Like a quintessential, by the definition, stereotype. But I grew up with not around money, right? Obviously, we didn't have a lot of money. My family didn't either. And I knew early on that I wanted to do something to help people in that situation, but I didn't
Right.
know what it was or where it's about, right? Because we just didn't have it. Luckily, I was good enough in sports. Went up here and played college football at Drake University. Got my
Nice.
degree in finance. Worked at the Boys and Girls Club off campus for 4.5 years, and that's where it like clicked on me. Financial education or financial literacy is what I used to call it, but now it's financial education. Has always been the issue, right? And it's a bigger divide between our socioeconomic divide, so our rich and our poor, than it is black and white. The problem is poor people, or those who are lesser, are the ones that usually are in the news and the media and all that stuff. And I have found it's because they don't know what they don't know. They've never been exposed to it. I mean, you can thank the Tulsa bombing for that, but like a lot of it is we just don't know. And so we just try to do our best to keep up with the Joneses. And there's been some negative money issues with that, right? And we all know that. So started there, got into this industry, 2011? Started my firm officially in 2020. Been involved for a lot of different firms, and Black Mammoth is designed for women and minority business owners. That's who we work with almost exclusively. And we are designed to be a modern family office. A lot of people don't know even what a family office is, specifically in our communities. And all it is when you think of ultra wealthy people, you're like, how the hell do they do everything?
Yeah,
They have
exactly.
a team, right? They've got bodyguards, they've got attorneys, they've got accountants, they've got people getting money, people buying their stuff for them, setting up their travel. That's essentially a family office, right? They have a place to go that gets all the things done that they just don't want to do, so they can focus on their family and making more money, whatever their job is, right? And so we've just modernized that to where we can outsource to other people and bring it down to the everyday business owner so that they have that opportunity. On top of that, I have my own podcast, No BS Wealth, going into its 4th year, coming up very soon.
Nice.
And all we do is it's real, transparent talk about money. And I bring in my other minority CFPs, I bring in other advisors, I bring in every expert, I bring in business owners. And it's truly just to let people know that you're not in this world alone. We're all going through a lot of things, and we're all going through very similar things. Here's a resource, or here's a conversation that might get you stepped in the right direction. So that's what I got going on. I know it's a mouthful. I know I spoke a lot.
That's good.
But, that's what I got going on.
You're busy, right? And you said around this time now is your busiest. For those that may not understand, why is right now your busiest moment right now?
Yeah, I mean, besides having 2 boys that are in every sport under the sun, it comes down to everyone at the end of the year goes through the same feeling. I don't care how much money you have or how much little money you have. Holidays bring out different emotions.
That's true.
We're also looking back at our budget and going, man, we made mistakes this year. I'm not hitting we're over money, we're overspending, I didn't make enough money. And then on top of that, now we're starting to, specifically businesses, we're planning for 2025, right?
Right.
We have to do that now for next year. So you got all those things happening all at once. This is when we become the busiest, just because it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah, and then you have so many people are your clients face to face. A lot of them online. Your reach out. How is that?
Yeah. So I jokingly say this all the time. The pandemic was the best damn thing that ever happened to our industry.
Oh yeah, I don't hear that a lot. Okay, talk to us.
Yeah. because it took us virtual. We used to only be face to face for some odd
Mm-hmm.
reason, and it forced us to have these virtual meetings. Which what it does is it allows us to have more clients, allows us more reach out to our clients because they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to spend 20, 40 minutes, an hour driving in,
Mm-hmm.
sitting with us when we can have a 5, 10 minute chat every now and
Yeah.
again, as opposed to these scheduled big meetings. And so it's been phenomenal. It's
Oh,
also
good.
allowed us to reach and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've always been nationwide, but truly you only kind of your neighborhood is kind of where you're at, right? Your state, your
Yeah.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
how
Absolutely.
business happens.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you go virtual,
You
now
take.
you go nationwide. We can work with anybody anywhere now.
Yeah, that's really good because you make yourself more accessible to those that can't get into the office. It's you know what it's more of today's thing where let me set up a Zoom call, let me set up whatever virtual appointment. I've been learning a lot of people are using Calendly, so let me set up that so we can get something situated. So a lot of people say COVID has hurt their business, COVID has improved your business, and that still puts you in that financial growth that your business is already about. I know you mentioned that you have two boys, so in my head, the type of businessman you are and the dad, I'm already like the kids are set financially the way you would want to have them. What is your lesson that you would give them on being financially set or getting to a financial place of comfort?
Yeah, wrote an article about this not too long ago. We use Greenlight. It's an app.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like $5 a month per kid, but it
Okay.
is a tremendous tool for education purposes. But also, it's a tremendous tool because it has budgeting in there. We can set there. So I always say there's chores and jobs for kids.
Yeah.
There's chores that you have to do. There's
Yes.
jobs that we can assign them to do so that they can start to learn about money, right?
Okay.
And so within that app, we set that up so when they do a job, 50% of whatever they make, I actually take out of it, right,
Mm-hmm.
as taxes. Like I'm
Right.
teaching them taxes. I put it in an investment account for them later, but
Of course.
they treat it as taxes, and then they get 50% that they get to decide what they want to do. Save it, invest it, spend it, and it's all tracked within this app. But it allows us to have these conversations when we do our monthly family meetings of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's look at our investments. What are you wanting to save for? And what I found is they have debit cards. So when we go shopping, they look at something, go, "Ooh, I really want that," and then that second thing going, I don't really want to spend that money on it. It's not worth it to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I never had growing up, right? My mom was
Yeah.
always like, either you can have it or not. There was no like me having a decision to make.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what's changed in our generations a lot is just, hey, these kids need to be aware of it. They need to know where you're at as a family. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I preach family financial meetings every month. They need
That's
to
wonderful.
understand
Yeah.
a lot. If they don't, they go what all the way basically through college, 18, 20, 25 years old before they even have an understanding of how money works. And we just repeat that vicious cycle that we're aware of.
I love that. The family financial monthly meeting, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you said it's with the app. Did you make this app?
No, 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 no.
Okay, it's a
I don't know
okay.
who made it, but it's out there.
Yes, that's really good. That's really good to have because it gets them prepared. Like you said, like right now they can look at their finances. I think it's wonderful because honestly, the school system, they're not teaching what you said this app is doing and how you're doing these monthly meetings with the family where finances shouldn't be a oh my god, I have to have this conversation, I'm really nervous. You want to make it as comfortable as you can. Some people splurge a little bit too much, and it's like you want to make sure that like it's okay, you had that splurge moment. Well, what can we do for the following week, or what can we do? Can we save a little bit more here? Can we spend a little bit less so that you can actually afford whatever it is, or however those meetings go for you with the family? But it's not like, oh, you guys are strict with your money. No, you want to have them financially comfortable. You want to have it where they can say, hey dad, this costs this much, but do you think this is affordable? And some people will say, well, kids shouldn't just be thinking about that at this age, but they should. I wish there was a lot of finances or
Mhm.
finance classes that the schools had taught before you had to pay thousands of dollars for you to be taught that in college.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I always use
Yeah.
this analogy like money is the thing that we all deal with. Every person on this earth right,
Mm-hmm.
deals with some form of money,
Yeah.
always. But we don't get taught it in schools.
No.
But we do get taught about science and history and math. And
Right.
I had to take a psychology or a
Mm-hmm.
physiology class or something. I dissected a shark and a frog. What do I have? What does that
Yeah.
do for me today?
Yeah.
Like, that does nothing. But if I could have picked how to manage money and how to make money and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be part of your whole entire life. But we've gone generations and generations without even focusing on it. And so everyone realizes, and they're
Yeah.
starting to realize, like, oh, damn, I really don't know. Like, I need to figure this out. And if we don't, then we're just going to continue our cycle of poverty over and over
Right.
again because no one's learning anything.
Exactly. Would you host like a seminar for our young youth?
Absolutely. And part of my early career, I would do that like once a week at different schools. I would go into the
Mm,
schools and have conversations. The state of Iowa shut that down, obviously,
mm,
for a while, and now are implementing back things as well. But that's where I kind of transitioned and said, okay, I'm
right.
just going to put out as much content as possible, right?
Yeah.
I've got some colleagues locally that do a lot and still go back into the schools and have worked their way through. Me, I'm like, how can I reach the most amount of people that is
Yeah.
always available for them out there?
Exactly.
And that's why I do all the content I do.
That's and that's the key. A lot of my older male friends, and when they're in certain relationships, this is like one of the big finance statements that they have is like, yes, I want to have kids, but I need to be financially prepared first. A lot of males say I need to be financially prepared first before I even have kids. How do you feel on that statement? Because when we discuss it, or I say it to my wife, like, yeah, they said they want to be financially there before they have it. I don't feel, and if I'm wrong, let me know, that there is a financial amount that's needed in order for you to have kids, or you need to be financially, do you feel you need to be financially comfortable, or do you feel having two kids that there is an actual number that's needed, or do you just feel like as long as you have this in order, or you have this strategy, that you don't really need to be in that type of headspace, I need to have that dollar amount?
Yeah, the whole conversation about having a dollar amount,
Yeah.
get rid of that, everybody. Don't think through that. You
Yeah.
don't have to have a certain amount for retirement. You don't have to have a certain amount to have kids. It's more, have
Hmm.
you figured out who you are as a person and are
Yeah.
aligning your decision making based upon what brings you joy and happiness? That
Right.
is it. Once you figure that out, your goal of having kids,
Right.
that comes into play very easily because now you're saying no to a lot of
Yeah.
things, right? And we see this often. And on my episode, or one of my episodes, I brought in, he's a child-free expert. He's literally a child-free financial planner for people who don't want to have children,
Mm.
right? And he gets backlash all the time saying you're the devil and all this other stuff, which is funny. But like, if you don't want to have children, don't have children, okay?
Yeah.
Because they're expensive. Let's be
Hmm.
real. If
Yes,
you
they are.
want to have children, then you need to make sure you are squared away with who you are
Hmm.
prior to having children.
Yeah.
And I'll use the example of I've got buddies who have 100, 200, 300 pairs of Jordans. They
Yeah.
go out clubbing every weekend,
Yeah.
right? They buy the newest fancy clothes and cars. Those don't align
Hmm.
with taking care of children
Right.
because that is all of an expense that, guess what, you don't have time for. But if
Yeah.
you are like, hey, I have all that, but I'm good now. Like, I want to support, I want to be
Hmm.
there for them. Every decision going forward, I'm making for my children. Then it
Right.
doesn't matter necessarily if you have enough set aside because you're going to figure it out and you've already made that decision. So
Yeah.
for me, everything about money is always a mindset based thing. It's not a pure dollar because
Hmm.
if you have your headspace squared away, you're going to figure out how to make money, right? You're going to figure out how to
Yeah.
survive. It's
Yeah.
when you don't that it fails.
Yeah. And then coming in for like how you grew up, you said it was, I felt like when you told me everything about how you grew up, your main thing was in life, how am I going to make sure that I don't have to be in a struggle area at all, where I can actually be comfortable, I can afford this, I'm able to show my kids, a different life setting, and it's not always downplaying how we were raised, but a lot of the tools that we didn't have years ago, we have it now. Or it just takes that certain person to go ahead and execute a certain plan on, well, this is how it's going to look for me now. Now I'm going to run my own business, or I'm going to run my own finances and tell myself where I'm able to meet certain quotas or how I'm able to spend. It makes it much more, of a relief. Like, and I can also pass this down to my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it gives you that level of just comfort, and that's how you want to be. Is there any time, like, for women and minorities, how can they have their financial assets and wealth during any economic downturns? What, like,
Yeah,
financial milestones would they have to take?
yeah. So you got to think about an economic downturn two
Mm-hmm.
different ways. Typically, when we think economic downturn in the media, it's not the economy, it's the stock market, right? So when
Right.
people say that, they're more worried about the stock market than the actual base of economy in itself.
Right.
So you got to really separate those two things. And then obviously the stock market is a stock market. They go up and down.
Right.
The economy as a whole, I put it this way. Go look around your neighborhoods and everyone that's around.
Mm-hmm.
Are they happy? Are they spending? And are they out and about? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're not happy, they're not spending money and they're not out and
Right.
about, our economy is not doing very well, specifically locally in your area. Because that
Mm-hmm.
means people aren't happy. They don't have the extra funds to be out, and they don't
Right.
have the extra funds to be spending,
Right.
right? And so look at that from an economy standpoint and how do you deal with that? And then on the flip side of the stock market, I love when the stock market goes down, and everyone should. That
Yeah.
is the opportunity to get in the game at a cheap rate, right?
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
If you look at the history of the stock market, it only does
Right.
one thing and then it just keeps going up. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
stop. It keeps going up. No matter, you look at it for the last 30, 40, 50 years, it's just, there's a nice chart. It just does this. Now, in the short term, it'll go up and down. But
Right.
if you're thinking, our age, 35, 40, 50, even 60s,
Mm-hmm.
like just putting money away to invest and not worrying about the ups and downs
Right.
is going to be great. If you're just getting started and all of a sudden it wants to tank 15, 20%, awesome. That means whatever you're getting into is going to be cheaper, right?
That's good to
And so
know.
how do we overcome these scenarios? Because they're two different scenarios, right? If I
Right.
don't have the money to live and go out and do the things that makes me happy from an economic standpoint, how the hell am I going to invest when the stock market's down?
Yeah.
You got to plan for it. You
Yeah.
have to plan for these situations, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I usually do a 3-bucket tier with my clients. Okay. First bucket, short-term bucket. We're going to have 0 to 6 months, 0 to 3 months of expenses in our savings account, in our checking and
Mm-hmm.
savings. Meaning no matter what happens to me for 3 months, 3 to 6 months, I am good on expenses, right?
Right.
Then we go, and that's in your checking and savings. Then we go to midterm, which is usually 3 to 9 months or 3 to 12 months, depending on your situation. That amount of expenses should go into a high yield savings account or lower risk investment.
Okay.
Again, ideally, because if something happens, you're good to go. And then we go
Right.
to the long term. And this is not including retirement savings, by the way. We go to long term. Okay. We want 12 months or more in there, right? And that goes into the stock market because we're not going to touch it for a long time. So if
That's
you
true.
add all of that up, you
Mm-hmm.
can go in a full entire year without touching your long-term investing. And by the time, if you don't figure it out in a year, there's other issues, right, going on.
Right.
Like if you don't
Yeah.
figure out your life in a year, and so you're usually back up on your feet and you're good to go. So if you do that 3-bucket approach, if you will, then you're going to be set up for the opportunities when the stock market's down, right? Because it's sitting in there. And you're
Right.
going to be set up for if an economic turn happens because you have
Right.
the savings in there. Now, I say that it's very easy. It sounds great coming off my tongue. Like everyone should do it, right? It's the hardest damn thing to do.
I was about to say, but it sounds like, and it will be the hardest thing to
Oh,
do.
so damn hard.
Even when I
Like I
was getting
struggle
into
with it today.
NFTs, I'm like, what is this? I didn't. What is your take on NFTs? Like, have you like dibble dabbled into them?
Yeah,
Because
so I get asked that a lot. NFTs and
yeah.
crypto, they're not hand in hand, but they're very similar.
Okay.
For me, NFTs, I equate to like it's just the art game. And if people don't
Okay.
know how art works, is if I buy a piece of art from somebody for X
Mm-hmm.
amount of dollars, that's the value I perceive that I want it because it catches my eye, I love it, or whatever, right?
Right.
And then art sits there for 15, 20, 30 years until you go to sell it and someone else is like, shh, yeah, I'll pay you $1 million for it, and you bought it for $100 because it's the eye of the beholder. Art is
Okay.
like that. It is just something that you can sell to someone who sees it a different way.
Okay.
NFTs are very similar to that situation because they are just art form,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the game. It is more of a longer term play based on art, which is a totally different game to get into.
Yeah.
That being said, the flip side of that, crypto, that one's tough for me. Like Bitcoin's fine and all the other ones are tough because for me, there's nothing backing it. There's no asset, right? NFTs, art, collectibles, there's
Right.
something there. There's something
Right.
behind it.
Yeah.
Crypto, there isn't. Now, what I tell my
Okay.
clients is, hey, let's go put a couple % of your whole portfolio in cryptos, though, because there is a value there. Things
Right.
are happening, right? You can
Right.
get out and get in, but usually use it as speculation. Do not go put more than that of your portfolio in it because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what is it? Like no one can answer truly what it is
Right.
because there's no back end to it.
Right.
Is what it is type of thing.
Because a lot of people were telling me, oh, let me get you into the NFTs, and I'm like, I didn't know what it was. I've always knew Bitcoin and crypto, and of course, because I'm a gamer, they're selling me on the gaming aspect of it.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know that game Fortnite that you play? I was like, yeah. You know the V-Bucks that you buy in the game Fortnite? That's gonna be the real money you're gonna be using. I don't know if this person was telling me whatever, but you're gonna be using that in another lifetime. We're all gonna be in the game, and this is the NFT. It's gonna cost you a lot of money, and if I'm someone new, I'm like, okay, when do I use this money? Because at this time, I don't have that amount that you're saying it's gonna
Yeah.
get me. So is this being passed down to the god kids or any kids that I have, or who is it? And I'm like, and then I'm into the singer Chris Brown. They come out with their NFTs. So I said, you know, when you're a crazy fan, you want to buy anything. So I'm looking at the NFT and I said, but what am I doing with it? This is a nice art picture. What am I doing with it? So the NFT thing and everybody was going crazy. I don't even hear about it like that
No,
right
we don't.
now. I was confused. Was this just a big art gallery that we're all just investing our money into and not really going to actually put this picture on the wall? Where do I keep it? Do I keep it in the app? What do you do with it? It was like, the whole NFT rave was just crazy. So I didn't know if you brought any and you just, you had it somewhere, but yeah.
No, I didn't. Then yeah, like you said, I don't hear about it much anymore. I
No,
don't.
no, not at
Who
all.
knows what that craze was about or what happens, but I don't. And again, that's one of those shiny object things that if you don't have your
Yeah.
life in order already, just move on. Don't listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just no point because there's
Yeah.
way more things that you need to focus on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like if you take the time to somebody's like, oh, just take the time to learn about it and you could watch all these YouTubes. There's somebody that wanted me to get into stocks and it's definitely a different name for it. I'm not too familiar, but he said it's what is it where it was a big booklet and he had to read up on, I don't know if it's called something with a cloud, but he definitely looks at the charts and puts the money towards whichever hits a certain bracket. And he said if you want to start with possibly $100 to $1,000 and see what you come out with. And I forgot everybody was on this wave of that to receive money and with the stocks and bonds. And a lot of them, I don't know, do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't. But
It's
I
so
really don't.
much out there.
There's so, but that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
there is too much out
Yeah.
there.
It's too much.
And I just said this on another episode, almost
Mhm.
verbatim. The money game, the wealth building game, you
Mhm.
cannot do it yourself.
Yeah.
It is impossible to do it
Mhm.
yourself. There's not one person on this earth, no trillionaire, no billionaire, no millionaire, that
Mhm.
has built their wealth by themselves.
Yeah.
Yet the lower class tries to cheat the system, get
Mhm.
ahead faster by trying to do it themselves. And you cannot do it. It is not
Yeah.
possible. I don't care who hears this and they want to come at me and we can go back and forth on it. It is
Mhm.
not possible and no wealthy person has ever done it. So why are
Yeah.
you trying to reinvent this thing without
Hmm.
just building a team to help you get to where you want to go? Because you just can't do it alone. It's just
Yeah.
not possible.
Yeah. And I'm like, to me, I would think it takes a team. Even for you building your brand, your company, it takes a team. I would want a team. So if I'm going here by myself, it's like, okay, kudos to that. But it's like when you stumble, who's your partner to bring you up or make sure this is leveled or make sure we're executing the right thing? And I'm like, you watch all these YouTubes and it's really just showing them at the computer and
Well, yep.
they are the ones just doing it and they pass down the message. I looked it up just now. It was called Forex Trader.
Oh,
Have you heard of
Forex
that?
ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've done Forex. I got buddies in Forex. Yes.
Yeah. A lot say, oh, it's a scam or it's not, but it gets you the money. It's a lot of gambling. This person, I know him personally, he had to do a lot of reading, a lot of like learning and taking that time to figure out how to do it. And it looks like a lot of people are into it more now. I don't know, but it was like, it looked a lot.
It's a
And
lot. It's a lot.
I'm like, it's he's like, yeah, you just need this amount. And you're looking at the graphs. He made it, the YouTube video looks very easy. Like, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll just put this $100. I said, well, what do I put the
I
$100
know.
to? Like, what do you, I say, listen, just give me a plan and a goal and let me set forth with it. Like there's one person that wanted to sell me on a financial plan and
Mhm.
they told me you could put this much here and that much here, and by the time you hit, possibly, I'm already 31, so by the time you hit maybe 50 or 60, you'll have $1 million in this account. I don't feel that a million is like, ooh, that's the
Right.
biggest. We
Yeah.
need so much more than that. Maybe if you told me 500 million or just something more than one, because once you spend it, now you're at 999,000. Like it just
Right.
goes down, and houses at this time are a lot. And it's like, my thing is, do you I know you have a recommendation for our youth to put money into, you said the bucket plan.
That goes for everybody. The bucket
Uh-huh.
strategy, the 3 buckets goes for everybody. The youth, I really want them to get into the Greenlight app. And no,
Right.
I'm not affiliated. Just I use it with my family,
Yeah.
so might as well use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I recommend for them.
Yeah, because it would be best, because you have a lot of these companies just trying to have you pour money, but the end result is they're not understanding. Right now, that's not a lot because the cost of living is sky high. The
Hmm.
salaries are not where they should be. And I just feel like, in this economy, they just want possibly everybody to just have a roommate, because how can you afford these things on your own unless you are getting 100,000, 100K, 90K or more at your job? And a lot go for degrees and spend so much for the degree that they come out not even able to utilize, because then that market is not hiring. So it's really great that you went out and did something for your own, because you're able to just hire and do whatever it is and expand your way. And what, you have partners, of course, or
Hmm.
yeah, you
Well,
have.
I used to, but now
Okay.
I partner with people, but I don't have any partners in my firm anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me, my wife, my team, and then we outsource things, right? And that's where the modernization comes from. If you can find really cool people, really
Yeah.
badass people that you vibe with,
Right.
create something together. Be a part of
Right.
each other's tribe, because it
Mm-hmm.
does take a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just reach out and build. I tell everyone that no matter what industry you're in, just like go build another tribe, because there's not competition in our world when it comes to business, at least in
Right.
my industry, because
Yeah.
there's too many people. There's 133 million adults. I can't service that. Well, not even like a tenth of that, like a hundredth, a thousandth of that, right? Like I
Right.
maxed out. I only can have probably 40 clients. I'll hire another staff and we'll get up to 60, 70 clients and I'm done. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not a lot when we have hundreds of millions of adults that need financial planners, good
Yeah.
ones. And so we always try to bond and create different teams. And that's how I've set that up. I've got attorneys and marketing people. I've got therapists. I've got all of that. So when a client comes to me, they don't have to go, I need to go talk to someone. Like, we got you. Like I'll bring
Wow,
them
you
into
have
our meeting.
everything. That's wonderful. We have to put. We're going to be putting your website in the description there because a lot need that. You know, I have a family member that's going to come into a lot, and I'm like, you need to find a certain direction. You know what you're going to financially do with it. A lot of the youth that if they come into certain amount, they don't know the financial steps. They never had to pay a bill. They never had to do anything, and I'm like, we got to find you someplace to go to. So we're going to be
If not,
sending
you're gonna
them your
burn it.
information.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, if they don't, they're gonna. It's gone. Like it
Yeah,
won't be there anymore.
exactly. And it's like, you don't want to get to that point where I don't want anybody to get to the point where if they do have any type of lump sum coming to them, any type of annuities coming to them, that when they receive it, it's like, all right, I have this. Now what? There should be a plan before that amount comes
Correct.
to you, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's just key. Have a plan. Some people have a budget, some people don't, but just have a financial plan. If so,
Correct.
do you have any tips to any age group with
Yeah.
going into wanting to be more serious about their finance? What's one major thing you could tell them?
Yeah. Aside from what I told you about just figuring out what makes you happy and find you joy, like we hit upon that,
Mm-hmm.
is you need to know where your money's coming in from and where
Right.
it's going.
Right.
Call it budgeting, call it whatever you want. Everyone has to have it. All businesses have a budget. So let's call it budgeting. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was just on Threads going back and forth with someone on this. I don't want you to check it every minute of the day. I don't need you to check it every
Yeah.
week. If
Yeah.
you know who you are, what you want to do, you know where your
Mm-hmm.
money's coming in and out of, and you have your goals, you need to check it monthly to make sure you're on pace. If you need to make an
Yeah.
adjustment, that is it. Because otherwise, you're going to have this negative money mindset, and
Yeah.
money's going to troll you. It's going to rule you, and it's going to dictate how you operate. Money
Mm-hmm.
is a tool for us. We
Right.
should dictate how it operates, and not how our emotions are ran every day.
Yeah. And that's the one of the key points. Do not check it every day. Do not check it every day. Check it. You said once a month at least.
Yeah, yeah. Once a month's good.
Yeah, yeah, you know, because you'll run crazy like, okay, it's here, and it's like, you know, again, money. You want to also be comfortable, and you want to actually be stable. You actually want to know your path and where it's gonna go. This has been really great for any. I know I have a lot of people that's into finances and literally a male perspective because you know it's great to hear the diverse and how you see it. You're a businessman, how you financially will want it for your kids. Stoy Hall, guys, make sure you tune into the podcast. Where can we find you once more?
Yes, you can find me literally anywhere. You can go to blackmam.com, nobiuswealth.com. We are in every social platform, except for Reddit, because I got kicked off of it. Long story. But
That's
Pinterest,
so
Instagram,
Reddit.
anything, you'll find me.
Perfect. You have a link tree?
I do have a link tree as
Okay,
well.
great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be posting the link tree. Anybody who's taking the visualness or the audio, we will have the links for you guys because this has been perfect. Anybody has somebody coming into anything or you have money, you're not sure what to do with it. He has everything down to the therapist. You said the therapist. You did.
Yep. Oh,
He
yeah, we
has
got everything.
everything. He has everything here. So this has been a pleasure. Anytime you need something to come back with, this was great. We really appreciate you. So thank you so much for coming on to this episode today.
I appreciate you as well. And I always ask one thing for all of our listeners: reach out, DM me,
Mm-hmm.
comment, whatever. Not because of algorithms, although that helps, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately I want to help you. I know Cassandra wants to help you as well. We just want to help.
Absolutely.
The only way to do it is to communicate, and so we're here for you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the best way to go about it. You know, lend a hand, help a hand, and it's all about who we can help and how we can help.
Absolutely.
For sure. So thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming out. And
Thank
you
you.
guys keep tuning in and make sure you check out all his pages, his resources, and the links to get you going for where you have to be or where you want to be.